City Council meeting to order. It is 5:03. Roll call, please.
Wojni.
Yes.
Vetch.
Yeah.
Wilson.
Yes.
Felton.
Yes.
Mesa.
Yes.
We have a quorum.
I did.
Pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can't be that fast. I protest. I'll have the whole American Legion here. Shot.
Uh-oh.
Not just here.
You got that?
You want to bring up the big guns here or what?
You bring the howitzers.
Verification of posting.
The agenda was posted Friday at City Hall, State Bank of Arcadia, Arcadia TV and Appliance, and then posted this morning on the city website.
All right, we have a 13-item agenda. I'm entertaining a motion to approve. Motion by Fetch, second by Mesa. Comments or questions? Clerk will call the roll.
Vetch.
What?
You
To
approved
approve
the agenda.
Yeah.
All right.
Colson.
Yes.
Feltus.
Yes.
Mesa.
Yes.
Wojni.
Yes.
Motion carries. Public comment. Public comment. Public comment. Moving on, we'll move on to presentations. We have none. Old business, approval meeting minutes from November 7th, 2018. Motion by Fetch. Is there a second? By Colston. Comments or questions? Clerk will call the roll.
Colson.
Yes.
Feltus.
Yes.
Mesa.
Yes.
Wojni.
Yep.
Vetch.
Yes.
Motion carries. Approval of meeting minutes from November 13th, 2018. Motion by Feltus. Is there a second? By Fetch. Questions or comments?
Joel let ride later.
Yep. Clerk will call the roll.
Feltus.
Yes.
Mesa.
Yes.
Wojni.
Yes.
Vetch.
Yes.
Colson.
Yes.
Motion carries. Board of Commission updates, there are none this evening. Department updates, none this evening. At this time, I'd open a public hearing for the 2019 General Fund budget hearing. Comments or questions from the public in regards to the budget?
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
Public?
You're part of the public too.
Yeah, on the budget summary here, did I read this right? I gotta be careful, otherwise it's gonna flip flop. It says total budget 3 million, that was 2018, a budget 12/31, 2018, that was 2770, so that's going to be actual.
You're looking at the budget levy, the budget summary?
Yeah.
Yes,
That what
page
was
one.
posted?
Yeah, page 1. But I was just kind of wondering, too, with the 3,130,251, and then the 277,604.
Why the difference is your question?
There you go. Yes.
No.
I believe a large amount in that is included in the 205, which,
What?
the 205, the Army Corps levy project,
Core levy project.
which may have not necessarily been budgeted for, but came out of a separate account from the previous year.
You can all recall probably, what, 3 months ago, 2 months ago, we increased that because of
Correct.
the change in the study and the cost, so that was not budgeted at this time last year. So we had to add to that budget, which made that increase.
Okay, so where'd that money come from, John?
It was segregated from previous years.
Oh, yeah. But it says $359,000,
What page is it looking at?
right?
Still on page 1.
So on page 1. I mean, it's just kind of a, just kind of wondering what's going on there.
What that, all that money was for?
Corps of
Section
Engineers.
2 of 5, the Corps of Engineers, and we were, was that in October, September?
Why?
When we got the new budget numbers from the Corps of Engineers and having to increase the money that was being put in there.
Yeah,
For
but
this, for the study itself.
For the study itself, that's going forward though, that's for 2019.
Right, but the question is, why is there a $350,000 increase?
Correct.
And what account did that come from? Is that the
Yeah.
question, Todd?
apparently, or how did we compromise that, or?
You're looking at total expenditures, right, versus actual versus budget.
Correct.
Realize, you know, we have the internal drainage project that wasn't budgeted for, that we're using kind of fund balance for. Section 205, and then FEMA, the unreimbursed. You know, we had Turton Creek was not budgeted for, that's something that we had to do. And Oak Street, I mean, we didn't get reimbursed 100% for the Oak Street projects. Those were not budgeted for, but they were an expense to the city.
Well, we were able to pay for them.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
And you, as you, Angela said also, the revenues you see increased over budgeted compared to actual. Well, obviously, it's not even money. But part of that was the FEMA reimbursements as well.
The FEMA dollars.
So the actual budget now is $2,810,325, is that right?
That is the requested amount.
Requested amount.
Correct.
Okay. So it's not very much increase,
Correct.
100,000, less than
So-
100,000?
Less,
Yeah.
considerably less, or like 40,000. Go ahead, Bill.
Oh, no, I was gonna further detail that, so again, out of previous years, the city council had segregated dollars for the 205 project, which may have not shown up as a revenue, because when we use dollars from segregated accounts, they don't necessarily show up as a budgeted revenue for that year. And that's why there's such a difference. Again, 205 project, the levy project, the internal drainage project, and then again, the FEMA, which was reimbursed and was not necessarily budgeted at that point.
So you got all these accounts that we can use.
Correct. Any other comments, questions?
I'm trying to rotate this thing so I can see. I missed the
First one?
yeah, sorry about that, I had another engagement, but, the tractor and whatnot for streets, was there something in the city that, for the future, for perhaps purchasing a four-wheel drive tractor for Raul and his crew down there? So they could
Yeah, that,
I think that was in capital outlay, which, I don't know
correct.
if it was in this.
Yeah, so the budget worksheet that you have before you is only for 2019. That tractor we currently have in the capital improvement plan for saving money in 2020 and then into 2021. That capital improvement plan will be presented in January.
Oh, okay.
But yes, there is money being put aside. Like you and I talked about, Todd, part of it, what Raleigh has suggested is to see where this levy project goes and how much more mowing has to be done and what will be needed to maintain those levies. And then you get a tractor that's suitable to help maintain during the summer months as well as different winter activities as well.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. Can I ask us on economic development, the committee,
Page what?
page 4,
Okay.
line 30. The economic development people are getting money? Are we getting, or maybe I don't get anything out of that, mainly because I'm a council member, or what?
No, you're supposed to be getting paid for that.
You get paid. We have to pay committees.
Well, that's what I thought.
They offered to do it at no pay.
Yeah, I don't need to.
Yeah, it went back and forth for a bit. They offered to do it, but then, at the time it was, decided that by council, or decided that they should be compensated for their time. So if you're not being compensated for that,
I don't
Well-
mean to be, but I was just kinda wondering.
The reason being is then if we request all committees to not be paid is, you know, since we're paying for all the other committees, that's why it's being paid, to be treated just like the other committees.
Todd, do you remember when you were appointed to that committee?
About 3 years ago. No, when was I last?
I think it was
6 days, 6
Summer?
months? Yeah,
Summer?
6, yeah, I was gonna say the summer,
Yeah,
late spring.
Cause we'll look back, usually when we have meetings, Sally will get minutes, minutes from Bill on that meeting and pay off of that, so I'm not sure why you were missed. But to be consistent, since we pay for committee meetings, you should get paid for attending those, so we'll look back and catch up.
that's what I was wondering here. I saw that there and I thought, oh, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Go ahead.
where's Deadlock Park? Where's Deadlock Park?
that off park?
Yeah. Is that the one up by the,
That's Paul Park.
up by the
This one that you really
hotel?
can't get to.
Behind
What's the one behind Bill Washington?
Behind the Lockington, that's that one.
No, that's Killian.
Behind Bill Lockington, he's up on
That's
the hill.
Killian, huh? Oh, his old one.
That off park.
Like Tom Dickens?
Yeah.
That's Killian.
You know how we always talk about people who live there 3 times?
Yeah, but you know where Paul and Angie Covars live? Is that back there?
Isn't that by the motel, behind the motel?
Paul and Angie?
You gotta go up a block.
No, no, that's Killian,
Yeah, okay.
Which
Yeah.
one?
By the motel.
by the motel.
Okay, that's,
Okay.
What's
okay,
the
so
one
we're-
out here that?
Paul Park,
Paul.
That's Paul up there.
Paul,
So behind Jane Weisenberg is that one?
correct,
Okay.
Well, that's behind the motel.
correct.
You said it was Killian.
No,
Killian's the other one up there.
Killian is the one that would be,
With the slide
Bill
on it.
Washington used to live
is
there.
where Bill Lockington used to live.
Do you know where Thousand Oaks is?
Kind of
Just into the
behind.
backyard on the side of the fence, going west.
If you take Chitco Court, you know, Chitco
Behind.
Court is
Oh, yeah,
across from
Come
Washington.
pick us.
If you go to the end of Chitco Court,
Oh,
in
there's
the back of
a
that cul-de-sac, there is a little park back in there.
Oh, that's that.
That's called Killian
Okay.
Park.
Okay.
That lot park is behind by the motel.
That's
Okay.
It's my former compadre, you know.
Do we have a question about that law park?
I just wonder where it was. I mean,
Okay.
I see we don't do too much there. There's not much going
Just mowing it.
on. I suppose, okay. But that's a low area. We've talked about that for buildings and other activities there.
Right, that's been the
Skating
stuff.
rinks, maybe.
You used to be one there.
You said that, yeah.
I was a kid there.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we?
Marlis, question? Oh, go to the next thing. Go ahead.
Since I wasn't here, are we thinking about the possibility of still doing an ice skating rink in the city this year? Because last year we got some people's hopes up and we did start it, but it didn't work out that way. But is that in the budget here? Or can it be?
We don't have a separate line item for that, Todd, for any kind of capital expenditures for a skating rink.
That's a capital expenditure then.
Well, depending on how you wanna build it, because if you're just simply talking about, probably going out there and working on it, that's a cost that may be absorbed. However, if you're actually talking about purchasing a rink and putting it out there, that would be a capital expenditure.
For instance, getting somebody out there to do
Grading and stuff.
grading and all, that'd be capital?
No, not necessarily, depending on what type of cost it is.
But we still have to kind of
What?
be in flux here, or kind of,
Why don't this year, I mean, I know this is gonna be to the size of your liking, but we know it's a flat surface, why don't we put it like on the, up at the park on the, basketball court? You know, it's flat.
and cement,
Right.
and you've tried that before.
I don't know.
Yeah, I
We
think
can
you
try
had,
it.
you had plastic down there and you had,
I'm just asking,
I guess it works, huh?
we can then see how much is utilized.
Right. It's not very big.
That's why I stated that. I know it's not what you're looking, the size you're looking for.
Well, and I'll also add to,
That's got a lot of crap.
I'm sorry?
I was gonna say, you know, we don't know what type of number to put in there because I don't know what the plan is there as in regards to putting something there. I don't know if it's a grade and construct job or if it's a, you know, kind of try to make it work type thing. But if I can get numbers on that, we can work on putting that in the budget.
I think we might have been thinking about or possibly asking probably Raul or somebody to get some figures from, a person who does that kind of grading. All you need is just get it flattened out, and Raul mentioned something about, a drainage kind of an idea, which sounds pretty good. But if we could get some kind of a figure, we'll just bring it back sometime. It's not in the budget here, but we could work
We
with
can
it.
still work on it, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Because this would be nice, I don't know if it's too late yet or not, but,
The year it was at that basketball court, it looked pretty good. There were quite a few kids up there, and it wasn't crowded, but they had a light up there too, which is kind of nice. And we could move a portable there or something. But just to try it, like you said, Rob, just to give it a shot and keep an eye on it, see how many people really use it. And if it'll freeze, sometimes it gets bumpy too, it's a lot of maintenance.
you gotta flood them.
Gotta keep up
You
with
gotta
that.
keep them
It's a
clean,
lot.
because otherwise it's gonna be crunchy, crusty ice and nobody's gonna wanna skate on it,
So maybe
so.
we should probably look at getting a Zamboni then too right away.
There you go, I think so. We'll put that in the capital,
Right, with the lawnmower. Do the more lawn with it.
I think so.
Marlis, you had something?
I was just gonna ask about that stream gauge maintenance, we didn't have anything last year, we have 75, is that what we've talked about, trying to get money from the county?
That is what we tried to get, to talk about getting money from the county, however, they're not real receptive
Okay,
to the discussion. So we did put it in our budget.
okay.
So why do we have to have it? Do we have to have it or what?
Do we have to? No,
No.
we do not have to have it.
We don't have to have it, but considering the extent of all the flood projects that are coming up and that information being turned into those studies and those projects. In addition to that, without having it, my understanding is that those numbers, may still have to be reported to the National Weather Service. And when that is, that's done by hand. So we have to consciously remember to go out there to record those numbers and then report them. And I know Diana and Raleigh can talk more to us in the process of which we do that, and whether or not the resources that we utilize to do the reporting is worth it or not.
I missed what you were talking
Do
about.
either way. Basically,
Stream gauge.
when we're measuring the river, we still have to do it and report it to dispatch, so it's relayed onto the National Weather Service. and
Or
it's
we
still
have to call
logged.
the National Weather Service more or less.
By hand?
It's not that we can't do it, it's just nice to have when we are flooding, we've got 100 other things to do. Instead of sending somebody down there every 15 minutes, half an hour to make sure they check the river, there's enough other things that we can be doing. It's nice to be able to be at home and watch the gauge from your phone as well. To say, okay, we're at this stage, an hour ago they were at this stage, so projecting forward, this is where we're probably going to be. Otherwise, we wouldn't have that data.
Is it useful? Absolutely. My feeling is still that I don't believe that the city should be paying for it. I think it should be a county effort. I've went to the county board, I've gone to law enforcement and emergency management committee, I've gone to the executive finance committee and presented to them as well. It hasn't got put in their budget. I think it's a useful tool, I think it needs to be done. My feeling is that we shouldn't have to do it ourselves.
With the change of administration up there, would you think that'll help?
It could change.
I mean,
I mean,
Without asking.
I'll keep trying, I just think we should put it back in our budget. to keep it moving forward, like Bill said, we got other projects, the information is there, and I can keep trying to. And there is a change in administration of the sheriff's department and emergency management, so some things may change. However, last time, Bob, in the last administration, law enforcement, emergency management voted unanimously in their committee to send it on to executive finance and put it in their budget. Executive finance removed it out of their budget, and that's what it was voted on,
So Schreiner in charge of that?
Schreiner and,
Dan.
and, yeah, and, the current sheriff, Rich.
Okay.
So, we've had the backing of emergency management, they see the need, executive finance took it out, so. But I can go back.
And how many of those are in this?
I believe there's 11 different stations, not
Right.
all, ours is a little bit more intricate, some of them are just rain gauges, there's 11 different things in the system around the county. Some of them are stream gauges, not as intricate as ours, because ours reports, like Diana said, you can go online, you can't see the different creeks. There's 11, including a couple in Jackson County.
But are there other ones on Trumbull River? Right on the river or on?
Yeah, Dodge is in, Dodge,
State Independence.
that's not in Trumbull River, that's, no, theirs is actually,
Pine Creek?
what's like, what, yeah, on the Elk Creek in Sweet Valley, I believe it's on that bridge.
That's a ways out.
Dodge?
Dodge, yes, but if you go on the National Weather Service website,
They'll
you
give
can
you
look
all
at,
the
like, say, the
listings.
Mississippi River, you can check each gauge. And you can also come up the river, so you can check Dodge, we used to be able to check Arcadia, what the river level was at, and what it was projected to be
What
at,
pays for Dodge?
Trumbull County. Trumbull County pays for all the other 10 other than ours.
Uh-huh.
Now you see why I believe,
They should pay for it.
I think we should keep going after him somehow.
And as far as I'm concerned, that one here doesn't do us any good.
no,
I'm way more concerned with what's going on
North of us.
up in Independence, because
well, and that
that
was,
gives you a little time, but by the time this one gives you the information, you already know it.
well, that was the discussion
I'm sorry
there,
to say it, but
and
you know it.
I forget which member of the board it was, but it doesn't matter, said, well, maybe you guys should pay for the other ones then, since,
Yeah.
I said, we already pay taxes that help pay for the other ones, and and we're paying taxes on this one. That was my response. So our county taxes are paying for those.
How many are on that finance committee?
5.
Do we know any of them?
I don't recall off the top.
Okay.
That probably is a better idea now. I don't recall who they were off the top of my head.
John Dawson, we try Nelson in there.
Mike, I believe he is. He used to be.
I don't think Tim is up, oh, Tim's there right now?
Yep.
Yeah, and I don't know if the other one.
Austin lives up by Pigeon Falls, does he not?
Correct.
I
Yes.
don't know.
Okay, that's the only one I know out of the 5 before I did you.
So that's why it's in the budget. So, I mean, if
Okay.
we wanna take it out and decide we don't wanna pay for it, that's completely up to us. I think it's a useful tool. I think it's useful for the county. I just don't believe we should be paying for it. That's my.
7,500.
Right.
It's not a lot.
Yeah, I mean, along with the projects we have going on, it also shows that we're trying to do something.
And in addition to that, it helps with the planning, so we're gonna have additional responsibilities on for the future years, when, if we do move forward with this levy and when we move forward with the internal drainage. The information provided by the stream gauges is helpful in the planning stages, in addition to the emergency management.
I agree with you. Is it possible that we do this, but still try to manage our county system? Since they're paying for every place else, why can't they be
We
helping out anyway?
we can sure budget and see if we can get reimbursement from the county.
Yeah.
And when Diana called the sheriff, I think it was told that they were already, no, that was on something else. It was already budgeted. Their budget was already done.
That was in August.
Yeah.
So knocking on the door that nobody answers.
I mean, I'm fine with, to keep knocking at it. I think we have a good working relationship up there. I think some people see the need, the people that represented the Dodge area, they understand the need and the usefulness of it. And like I said, law enforcement and emergency management did, but there's 17 members. It does take some work to get some votes.
But if everybody else is, every other place is being paid for it, there's no reason why we can't be helped out or at least be, so, yeah, so let's.
I think we all agree with you, Todd. I wholeheartedly do. I don't know how to better answer the question then.
No, you can find, that's all you can do.
But I can give you a schedule and get you on the agenda if you wanna go there and pitch it next time.
You know, you go in there and harass them a little bit. Yeah.
It doesn't hurt to call people
Yeah.
and let them know. Cause I know it made the news last time and people heard what was going on and, got out across Tribune, I think did a story on it as well, so. When we didn't fund it.
But it didn't do any good.
My phone rang rather quickly right
How
after
about if
that.
we all go? So.
Well, the budget's already done.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, any other questions? Go ahead.
On page 10, Shoals Park, no, Shank Park, I'm sorry, it was $2,000 over what was budgeted, did you know what that went for?
What page is that?
Page 10.
Page 10, sorry.
About
Fourth one up, or third one up, fourth one up.
It's about $2,000.
about 73, 4.
76.
Is there something that happened there this time?
Line 76.
Is that vandalism?
Shank Park?
Trying to think, what, I thought that one was pretty good this year.
Well, I'm just asking because it's about $2,000 more
More.
What
than
page
what
is
was
that on?
budgeted.
Page 10, line 76,
76.
76, 77.
That's the soccer field, basically, isn't it?
Yeah.
That wasn't the
right by
light poles. The light poles are done a year
Monticello,
before.
no.
Yeah.
That's Prosperous Park.
Yeah, we didn't have like any huge vandalism or anything there. Year before, they were spray painting the poles.
We have a problem with oil in the pits too, or something like that. Like
Yeah, but I don't think that was this year. I think that was in
Well,
2017.
that was longer, okay.
Shouldn't do anything yet.
We can look into that, see why it wasn't more. No, that's a good question.
Okay, thank you.
Especially if nobody knows right off the top of their head. Any other questions? Comments?
Thank you to the police department and street department for coming in lower on their budget than last year.
We're good. Give me a Raleigh smile, that doesn't happen very often.
I can order some new equipment.
I just said thank
As
you.
long as it's a four-wheel drive tractor.
Right.
I was thinking sweeper.
So just a comment on that, we did make a couple of adjustments from the October 23rd
Yes.
hearing, or the meeting.
Right.
And included in the adjustments from the PD and the park, what we did do is we also adjusted the revenue from taxes from others. And those are payments in lieu of taxes from the Trumbull County Housing Authority. That went up from $7,500 up to $20,000. And then the council had previously asked about that vehicle for the city hall. We had that as a $10,000 capital item. And we adjusted that to a line item under mileage for that code enforcement officer instead of purchasing a vehicle. So you'll see that on page 7 under line 12.
Line what?
12.
OCD mileage,
Sure.
continuing education mileage?
Code enforcement.
Code enforcement.
Oh, sorry. Well, we should thank you for people for working on the budget here and doing a fine job. whittling it down, so.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever an easy thing from Bill and Angela to the rest of the staff as well. I mean, there's never easy cuts to make, obviously, but we have to make them.
But everybody's fine with all the numbers then, for all departments?
I don't hear a whole lot of hollering.
I don't see the water developers, they're different, aren't they?
They're different. Any other questions?
On the rec department.
Yep.
Is up quite a
80.
bit.
Please.
17. Is there a reason? So,
Are you saying?
talk
The
about
bu-
54,000.
The budget from 2018 was budgeted at 238,343, and the budget this year was 292,396.
Yeah, but there's only 2 lines on page 17.
That's just the final, that's just
That's
the.
the final.
That's the final, that's all this stuff right
So I can take a stab at that. We have a lot of maintenance items coming up on the aquatic center. Very expensive expenditures, so plan for 2019, I believe we have the filters to be done, redone. And that comes at a cost of approximately $50,000. Coming up in a couple, next year, we're gonna have to consider making repairs or replacement of the pool heater. Yeah, and I think that's another $50,000 expenditure. You know, slides need to be replaced, the frog structure, repainting of the pool. The list kinda goes on and on.
Okay, thank you.
Just remember, it's 20+ years, it opened in 2000, and we really haven't done a whole lot. So now we're kind of moving forward and trying to get, Bill and I and Angela work a lot on that. And kind of, Bill pointed out, being necessities, you know, do we need it painted or do we need a filter? You know, we need the filter, we need the heater. We can live without painting right away, we can live without a new frog, we're gonna jerry rig it, so the rust isn't showing. Raleigh's gonna help us with that, so, even some of the stands need redoing, so, yeah, a lot hasn't kind of slid by, so we sort of filter and move on.
there. Is there monies for the roof of the sandbox? This is something else.
There is not in this budget. So we,
Okay,
Eva has gotten me some costs back. But what we'll have to do is we'll have to bid the project, cause I think we're gonna be over $25,000 or close to that.
for the roof?
Just for the rules.
Well, materials and labor.
No.
So we'll have to find out what the number's gonna be and then put it into the 2020 budget.
We're working with Albertsons on that to give us kind of an estimate what it would cost. As you know, our Boy Scout or Eagle Scout did not pan out to, he was gonna do it, just didn't happen.
Is it possible to maybe work with high school?
We talked to Mr. Shank, and he'd be very willing to help. Talked to Albertsons, it's very intricate how that has to be done to match everything. Mr. Shank is not willing to take that alone, they want a professional there with them. So then as we talk, which professional is gonna come in 2 hours out of class week for possibly 2-3 weeks? Who can do that, you know? So we're talking, Jim Comber, Jim Keycoffer, Puts, whoever, so we've been discussing, just get the darn thing done maybe. So Albertsons is helping us maybe get an estimate, they give us materials, about 12,000 materials, and we just have somebody come in and do it. So they would help, but they're not gonna tackle it alone. It's very intricate, even Jeff Albertson, or Eric said that too.
Sure.
And the other issue that we have there is that it's already started. And so you gotta find a contractor who's willing to come in and build the rest of it, a project that they didn't start.
So you guys are working on it?
We're working on it.
It's a work in progress. yeah.
Okay.
And it doesn't get so solid, worked with the high school kids on the weavers.
That's who put the poles in.
Dylan.
Mhm, yeah,
So, I mean, at least we could do is ask.
we can certainly all.
If they say no,
Yep.
it's better to ask ask, if somebody say no, then not ask and say, well, I would have helped you out.
And it's possibly Mr. Shank's class maybe could be there for a couple full days, you know, where it wouldn't be, you know how it is with a
Right.
classroom situation.
Does Myron Construction do stuff like that? That's just the question I asked.
He's building a school.
That's the one that's doing the $16 million project at the school.
Oh, they probably should have some people do.
I just posed the question.
Any other comments or questions?
Yes.
You know, you picking up what I'm putting down?
Got to elaborate, that's something else.
If there's no other questions at this time, I'll close the public hearing. So for the general fund, I'd entertain a motion to approve. Is that the motion, Joe?
Yes.
Second?
Motion by Feltus, second by Fetch to approve the 2019 general fund budget and tax levy. Comments or questions? Clerk will call it. Go ahead.
Excuse me, what's the rate per 100,000? Is the tax gonna be going up? If it is, people like to hear, you know, how much it's going to be.
Angela, you got the cut?
That's at City Hall.
Oh, well.
So the levy, I don't know what it exactly it is per $1,000, but the levy increase from 2018 to 2019 is $8,117, so that amounts to about a 1% increase from last year's tax levy for the city only.
It should be relatively flat because of our assessed valuation increasing.
So,
Can you send us all that information in the morning of what
stay
it
the
is?
same, you're
and then
saying?
Get a hold of Deb to put it in the
Not gonna
paper.
change much, but I'll email out you guys the mill rate.
Okay.
Then can you give it to Deb so she can put that in the paper as well?
I mean, when you said 1%
So,
for the city, would that be 1%?
No, because there's other taxing jurisdictions that would be involved in that, school district, technical college, county, state.
So for the city of Arcadia, it's a very minimal tax increase. Clerk will call the roll.
And that was that Feltus and Fetch?
Correct.
Mason,
Yes.
Wojni,
No.
Fetch,
Yes.
Holsted,
Yes.
Feltus.
Yeah.
Motion carries. Item 8B, disallowance of claim for Bobby Kupiec.
So moved.
Motion by Feltus, is there a second? Motion by
I'll second.
Mazak.
So this is a claim against the city, from the Kupiec. They had, to repair their water lateral, I believe, sewer lateral, sanitary sewer. And they had claimed that, the sewer lateral was damaged due to faulty construction of our sewer main. We handed it over to, our insurance company. They, did an investigation into it, and they found that, in interviewing, the plumber, that had worked on on the repair for the Kupiec, that there was a crimp in the, lateral and due to natural causes and not to, our construction. So they're recommending that the city disallow the claim.
Our insurance companies.
Our insurance company
What is this property name?
This is on Wilson,
Across from Roman Feltus is
Wilson Avenue.
809 Wilson.
So right off of Pearl, or half a block down on Pearl, off of Pearl.
By Jack Greffy.
Oh, sure, okay.
Across the street.
Like Jack, yeah.
Comments or questions in regards to that?
Yeah, I had a visitor today, and if you look at the second side of that 8B, he was trying to tell me that this was done in April or May. And the second paragraph here says, you are notified that no action on the above claim may be brought after 6 months from the date of service. Why did it take so long?
believe that's 6 months from the date of service.
Date of service of this letter.
Letter.
So if the council, motions to disallow the claim, I just heard back from the insurance company, late last week. I think it was Friday, that they recommended the city disallow the claim and to put this on our next agenda. So it took a while for them to do their research and,
Investigation.
So we're gonna bring it to the December 5th meeting? Is that what you're saying?
if the motion is made to disallow the claim, you would disallow the claim and then it would limit the property owners to 6 months from the date that they
Oh.
get the letter.
Raleigh, do you know anything, who did the blowing out of the lines? Was it Flow Right, or
Blowing out of the lines.
for the laterals or whatever?
This is a
This
sewer
is a
thing, so this is
sanitary
with Gary Scott.
Okay.
I don't know nothing about it.
Because they said stuff was coming right out of their toilets into their house, when Flow, he thought it was Flow Right, maybe not, but another company of that,
Well, Fullright does do work for Gary, but I don't know.
okay.
I mean, that's something you'd have to take up with the wastewater utility.
It was coming right out of the toilets. That does sound good. And what, I think, what was the claim? Was it like $4,000?
Yes.
Okay, that's a hefty. Oh, you got a motion on a second, we move on.
Is there any other comments, questions in regards to it? I know this was discussed some time ago to send it to the insurance company to see what was being done. They obviously did their research and this is what they came back with, so. Clerk will call the roll.
Wojni,
No.
Fetch,
Yes.
Colstead,
Yes.
Feltes,
Yep.
Mezek.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 8C, discussion and possible action on First Amendment to Development Agreement 2015, Development Agreement for Fairfield, Public Improvements and Bus Shed Paving Agreement.
So moved. Sorry.
Motion by Feltes, second by Fetch.
This is the thing that's related to the pavement and getting the money to help with the library, is that what it is?
Yeah, so this amendment, reallocate or reassigns the dollars, or amends the original contracts or development agreements to allow the city to use both the already paid dollars from the assessments and the dollars to be paid by the school district to the city for the assessments, instead of for the indoor recreational facility as stated in those agreements towards a public library. And then on page 2, it does list a set of conditions that must be met in order for this to go into effect. And you can read through that. Let me know if you have any questions in regards to that. Mostly has to do with separate agreements and construction and payment of those funds. And then contributions from other funds and sources, and restrictions and requirements for construction plan and contractors. And then it does reference an exhibit. And it's not in your packet, but the exhibit is Exhibit A, which is a construction contractor exhibit that the school does currently have with Myron Construction. That will also show as Exhibit C for the next item. And Terry and I reviewed that construction contract and we're happy with it. We're okay with it.
Comments or questions?
Is this what the school district
So,
has agreed to, or?
yes, this copy has been sent to the school district for review, for their attorney review and the district administrator. I believe it's on their agenda tonight, to approve.
We had our attorney write it.
So we tried to get the best interest of the city, is what we were looking out for.
It's always an advantage when we write the contract.
Right.
Pardon me?
It's always an advantage when we write the contract.
Clerk will call the roll.
Fetch,
Yes.
Holsted,
Yes.
Feltes,
Yes.
Mazak,
Yes.
Wojni.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 8D, discussion of possible action on City of Arcadia / School District of Arcadia Library Construction Contribution Agreement.
So moved.
Motion by Feltes, second by Fetch.
So in your packet, you should have the language in the contract or in the agreement itself. I believe that is 9 pages long. In addition to that, you should have Exhibit A, which is 2 pages, and that describes what the architects and the construction group have estimated to be the work that is specific to the library build out. You do not have Exhibit B. Exhibit B is approximately 50 pages, and it is the specs and documents for, construction documents for the complete project in itself. And then you also do not have with you Exhibit C, which the document references to. That is the construction contract between the school district and Myron Construction. That is 66 pages. I do have those for review if you do want to see them, or if you would like to stop by the office, or we can email them to you. It's a rather large packet, so it was not included in the documents which might. So I'm not gonna go page by page through the contract, but I can hit on some of the main points here, and then we'll open it up for any questions that you might have or the public.
Bill,
Yep.
who wrote this?
Terry did.
Okay.
And this has, so Terry's written it, I reviewed it, the mayor's reviewed it. It has gone over to the school district, their attorney has reviewed it, Lance, Bagstad has reviewed it, and then it is going before their board tonight also.
Excuse me, question, this $522,950, or 20, yeah, that is for what? Now, that's for the whole package for doing,
Correct, so let me go through these details here, and
okay.
then we can bounce back to that. So, this contract in itself, does list a number of conditions that must be met in order for us to contribute the city's funds towards this project. In this project itself, it talks about the 5,000 square feet for the library, which is the portion of the shell of the building that will be specifically for the library. There are some common spaces in which the city is currently negotiating the lease agreement with the school district, and that's over for the school district's review. And that is a requirement within this contract to be completed by November 31st. So of the contribution amount from the city, what's written in here is $195,679, which has been paid, or will be paid to the city by the end of the year for the assessment. Of the total assessments, there is approximately $287,000 left to be paid to the city from the school district. So all that, those two funding sources should equal $482,950, which is owed by the assessment. Now, also in here, it talks about an additional contribution from the city, which is $40,000. And we've written it in this agreement to not kick in until the very end if the fundraising dollars from the Arcadia Education Foundation or Friends of the Arcadia Public Library and Community Center do not reach the goal of $768,000.
So if they reach the goal, we do not have to put in that extra money.
Correct, and keep in mind, we're trying to get to this $1,250,000, which is the budgeted amount for the public library. So some other items that will be written in here, so all parties, whether it's the school or the city or whoever else, when they do go out to borrow, that the fees and the interest rates are the responsibilities of those parties. I know that was discussed, between the city and the school district. As the city, will have to borrow, short-term finance, $287,000 that's left owed to the city. That then would be paid back by the dollars being paid from the school district for those assessments. So in regards to the fundraising dollars, from the Friends of Arcadia Library and Community Center, we did write in here that fundraising committee has to have in the bank by the end of 2018 half that amount, so $384,000 is what's in the contract here for 2018, and then also in 2019 that they have to have that amount in the bank. So some important deadlines that we have in here, November 31st for these contracts and agreements to be signed, or November 30th, excuse me. And then also that the school district needs to enter into a written agreement with the Wani Foundation for the $12 million for the rest of the project by November 30th. January 11, 2019, the reason that's important is that in doing some research here and the school bidding up the project for the library portion, currently the bids have been returned. Right now, the Myron Construction is doing their due diligence to make sure that the numbers are in line. But those bids can be held for or until January 11th, for which is the time in which the school district needs to make a determination of whether or not the library will be a part of this project. If at that point the library is a part of the project, the full contract will kick in, or the full agreement will kick in. If they choose not to move forward with the library, then we do have in the contract that the school district would need to reimburse or pay back the city's contribution amounts. Now, if it does kick in, or when it does kick in, at the rate that we contribute the dollars to the school district for paying of these bills, we do have that broken down. For phase 1 of the project, we're paying at a rate of 2.98%, which is, we divided the square footage of the library by the square footage of the whole facility. And that's how we got to that. Phase 2, which would be the the library build out itself, we're paying a rate at 41.76%, the remaining amount to be paid for by the fundraising dollars. So then throughout the whole project, we're controlling the amount of dollars that we're contributing to this, so that we're not front loading all of city dollars into the project, and then being left empty-handed at that. So again, in addition to this, one of the requirements of this contract, or this agreement, for this agreement to kick in and the contributions to kick in, also is the lease agreement. The lease agreement is the tool for which we are using to deal with monthly costs beyond construction, also dealing with things like expansion of the library, signage, parking space, maintenance, etc. So there is another agreement that will come before you. So with that, I'll take any questions.
So, in summary, is there some sort of, monies that the library board now has to contribute, or?
No, we've left that out of these agreements. Now, if the library board and the school district want to just have that discussion, we've informed the library board that, you know, in regards to the council's discussion and negotiation with the school district, we've really left that out.
So it can go forward without those monies being sent to them in, how would you say, kind of an escrow, so that, if they need the money to, manipulate, funds or whatever it is to get the job done, and then they would pay back the library, so they don't need that money, right?
The school district doesn't need that money, or?
If they don't need the money for the actual building, there's the talk about that the library would perhaps, maybe I'm misinformed, but that they would be contributing, or at least, holding out and giving, well, I don't know, how do I say it? Put, like I say, an escrow, it's a way to.
Yeah, I think what you're talking about here, so so there's an issue here, right? So the issue is money, is the amount of dollars on hand when the bills come due,
Right, okay.
right? So, in theory, we have enough money or pledges or accounts. In practice, the dollars that are on hand or in the bank, is short of that amount depending on when the bills come due, right? So, and depending on what the bids come in. So come January 11th, depending on how many dollars are collected from, the fundraising group, and in addition to, the amount of dollars from a trusted source or a known source like the city, if all the dollars are not collected at that point, there's going to be a gap in regards to dollars on hand. You know, so at that point, the school district's gonna have to make a decision of whether or not they take on that risk and be able to capture the dollars from the city, or at that time, not take on that risk and then the city walk away from the
City will what?
Would walk
Well,
away from
walk
it.
away.
Would walk away from it then?
Right.
So it's still kind of, library is still in
Well,
limbo.
I think the unknown here is whether or not the pledged dollars will be collected. And I can tell you, that they've collected approximately $420,000
Okay, in hand,
in hand.
In hand.
but as far as pledges,
As far as pledges, I think they're close to $730,000.
I think with the city's contribution and the pledged dollars, total pledged dollars is like right at the 1.25 million.
oh,
It might be a
Well,
little shy, but
Well, I think 1.2 to 1.2.
yeah, it might be like 20,000 short, 15,000 short. So,
Those are from pledged dollars, so
Okay.
there's a difference again. There's a difference between, what's collected and what's pledged.
so again, this was written by
Here.
our representation, working on behalf of the city, the city's best interest. Comments or questions? It's a lot of stuff to it,
going on.
but I mean, again, it's done that way to protect us and have us as an out, not as being stuck holding a bag or something.
so as we look at it, then it's a positive situation instead of a negative thing.
It is, so, I mean, it's gonna take a lot for this to come together, the project to come together, and I think we're doing pretty good. I think we're in a lot better situation now than the unknown that was before. And when I say situation, I mean the status of this thing is, and not necessarily money,
I
but.
think the pledges had 2 years to contribute, so there was some fear of are they all gonna come in at the end of 2019?
Right.
And how would it be built without those pledges? However, pledges came in, at 440,000, you said, Bill? 420,000, I mean, that's a good thing. And it may become more positive in even the next 6 weeks with the end of 2018 being a tax write-off for people, so. Yeah, I mean, they are doing a fantastic job and, maybe standing behind us. We haven't heard of anybody pulling pledges or anything like that we know of.
Yeah, the important part is to collect on the rest of the pledges before the invoices come due.
Construction doesn't want to get paid by pledges. They don't like to get paid. Money. Yeah. Comments or questions?
Clerk will call the roll.
Holsted.
Yes.
Feltes.
Yep.
Mezek.
Yes.
Wojni.
Yep.
Fett.
Yes. Motion carries. Item 8E, discussion of possible action on fees scheduling.
I'll defer to
All right, do we want to sit down and discuss something beforehand, Bob? Possibly.
Then as a council or as RC?
Well, it has to be done in open session, so it would be done at a council meeting. Item 9A, approved bills of general account, in all $618,302.07. Motion by Feltes, is there a second?
Mezek.
Comments or questions?
It's the bond stuff that's, you see the big chunk in there, that's what's kind of kicked it up to 650,000.
Correct.
We got enough money to pay for it, right?
Yeah, the majority of those bond payments are, the tax increment districts, and that, those revenues are kept separate just to pay back the bond, so yes. There's money in the account to cover those checks.
Clerk will call the roll.
Feltes.
Yes.
Mezek.
Yes.
Wojni.
Yep.
Fett.
Yes.
Holsted.
Yes.
Motion carries. By the way, I forgot to say it, but there was no Davy engineer, and I don't know if you guys noticed that. I like to point that out when it's not on there.
Yeah.
I didn't hear you guys say it, I figured somebody would, Joel. You're usually on that, so. Item 9B, approval of TJ's trucking pay request number 3, final Madison Street of $17,876.60.
So moved.
Motion by Felton, second by Fetch. Questions? Clerk will call the roll.
Mezek.
Yes.
Wojni.
Yes.
Fett.
Yes.
Holsted.
Yes.
Feltes.
Motion carries. Operator licenses, we did one. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Feltus, second by Mezek. Any background check? Clerk will call the roll.
Wojni.
Yes.
Fett.
Yes.
Holsted. Feltes. Mezek.
Yes.
Motion carries. Future agenda items. I'll get a hold of us if you need something on. Next regular meeting will be Wednesday, December 5th. That'll be at 5 o'clock at City Hall. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mezek, second by Fetch. Clerk will call the roll.
Fett.
Yes.
Holsted.
Yes.
Feltes.
Yes.
Mezek.
Yes.
Wojni.
Yes. Stand adjourned.